All right, Buzz, I am here with Matt Hawkins, who just dropped ARC in the last couple weeks, the Animal Rights Collective, which is also like a really intense militia. Like this is it's violent. There's subterfuge. There's really great characters and lots of really good politics and political drama. There's a lot of this is it's a bigger issue, but there's a lot in between these two covers, and there's not. It doesn't feel cluttered, right? It's just it hits the ground running, and you take your readers for a great ride. This was a really different kind of narrative. You don't see a lot of this. Animals need protecting, right? But we don't often see this kind of level of trying to stop, poachers. Where did this idea come from? What made you want to tell this kind of story?
Well, I think it was more for me when I started researching. I went to South Africa to a convention in Cape Town in 2017, and I'd never been to South Africa. I'd never been to Africa before. Wow. And going down there, they have a pangolin preserve, they have lion preserves. So I was going around, I was talking to a lot of the people down there, and I was talking about how many of these animals are going extinct and all these sort of things, and I started thinking about all those sort of things. And I was very curious about poaching, and that comes up down there because they talk about it a lot. And then I realized what the real problem with poaching isn't really the Africans that are doing it. It's the people that are buying it. It's the rich Asians and the rich Americans that are spending money on this stuff that are causing these animals to suffer terribly. And 99% of the stuff that they buy is useless, like the rhino horns, the tiger penises, and the shark fins, and all that stuff. They have these mythical abilities to heal people, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the shark fins and that kind of stuff are essentially you're chewing on your fingernails. You know what I mean? I mean, it does nothing.
That's it's so sad because it is. It's like a drug trade. It's a billion dollar industry, and you don't really think of the dangers with people, right? We know the dangers of these animals. They're endangered. They're slaughtered, and it is. It's really heartbreaking, and we really see that in the art of this comic too. Like you guys. There's no holds barred. Like it's very real and visceral and heartbreaking. But there's also a really good narrative of like you said, like it's the greed, it's the money like behind all these problems that really push this illegal trade, right? And there's also a lot of sadness in the people that get mixed up in it. Like in this narrative, like they get these kids hooked on drugs to like make them do. And we've seen this happen. We've seen this happen in our country, right? When people push stuff on corners, right? That we get them young, we train them, and ruin their lives. So what was it? I feel like this was like there's a lot of dark places you had to go here. Like did it kind of mess with your head, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
No, there were a lot of videos and things I watched and things I tracked down. I was watching PETA videos and all kinds of stuff. Some of this stuff is really horrifying. I mean, the extremist stuff is rare. I mean, the stuff where you watch it just turns your stomach. I don't think anyone would accept that as being okay. But, it's just the more subtle stuff that I think is problematic. I mean, the fact that we're clear-cutting the Amazon to make more McDonald's cheeseburgers doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. I mean, I'm not some crazy liberal activist. I'm not out there chaining myself to a tree. I just, we've engaged this thing. Essentially, it's called the sixth grade Anthropocene, and we are in an extinction. There are species going extinct every single day in this world, and who knows what medical value they could have had. When we just obliterate things without realizing, because most of our scientific advancements in medical are all usually from biological things. Like we find out that jellyfish have amazing healing abilities, things like that. They glow in the dark. I mean, certain things you can grab from certain creatures to do stuff like that, but I don't know.
There's this really, and I think it's a bullshit narrative, right? Of people saying that they want less politics in comics, right? Like I read comics to escape. I want big superhero stories. I want this, I want that, like leave your politics out of it. But I think ARC is a really, really great example of why we need these kinds of narratives, right? It's good to read, right? It's like Tom Clancy meets PETA. It's gnarly, man. And it's like I said, great action scenes, big shootouts, like the artists get to do a lot of fun stuff in this narrative. But you also there's a big commentary. It's a big warning about like how we treat this planet and the beings on this planet, right?
This stuff is not like fictional stuff. I mean, the story is fictional.
Yeah.
But this stuff happens. Yeah. I mean, they a lot of the stuff we showed, like the little kids get getting hooked on heroin in order to extract them. They do that for real. I read about that and I was horrified.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of times they have when they pick up these they call them the lost boys. When they pick up the lost boys to be these war children, they go and they make the children kill their parents.
Wow.
They'll capture the whole family, and then they make the one son who'll kill the sister and the two parents, because then they hook him on drugs. So what's the kid gonna do?
Wow.
He either takes himself out or he hooks on drugs and becomes one of these zealots.
What did you get any kind of? I mean, you have a pretty big gig at Top Cow, right? So that probably gives you a little bit more freedom to tell these kinds of stories and be a little more open with the narratives you want to talk about. But like, did you get any kind of pushback from the comic about like, is this really what you think people want to read about, or like, do we really want to go this dark, or were they pretty much like, yeah, like let's go all the way and tell it?
Well, one of the reasons why I do comics is because I get to kind of do them the way I want, and I get to write different comics about different things. And no, we didn't really get any pushback on ARC. It was a project, like I said, Paul Feinstein was the one that sort of brought it to us, and he didn't want to pull any punches. And I think we do a disservice by showing half measures of what happens. I mean, I think if people realized what we had to do to get our food, some people wouldn't eat it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've hunted before when I was a child, and I've know how to skin an animal and I know how to eat it, and then I prepared food like that, and it changes the way you look at it. When you go to the grocery store and pick up a little slab of something that's square, that doesn't look like an animal and have a face, it's a whole different thing, So, I don't know.
Beavers. No, I'm with you, man. Like, and I really do, like, I want to congratulate you and just like, I wanted just to let you know like how impressed I am with it. Like going into it, I didn't really know what to expect, right? And I definitely didn't expect, like the big shootouts, the military parts. And then, like I said, going from like, zooming out to zooming in on these like big problems, going from like the individual person to the big corporations that, are some of the reasons that these narratives exist, right? I thought you did a really great job on that. I think this is a really cool one-shot comic. And again, like a really great example of like why the real world can mix and mesh with our comic book reading and still be entertainment, still teach you something, and still have your audience like walk away with an important feeling and want to talk about these issues. Like, I think you did a really great job with that, and I just want to congratulate you on the issues.
Thank you very much. That means a lot.